Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Charlie from Charlys Crafty Creations. Today we'll be making a snow globe tumbler. Everything that I use will be listed in the description box below with some additional discount codes where applicable. Now let's get started. So firstly I'm going to make a hole in my acrylic tumbler, and I like to use a hotfix tool, and I like to get it as close to the edge as possible without touching the rim. And you're just going to wiggle until you hear it pop through that first layer. It's very important that you don't hit the inner layer of the tumbler, and please be very careful with these tools, they are very hot. I then like to use my snow globe stoppers to just make sure it fits in the hole and that it's a nice tight seal. I do sell these in my shop, I will link it below. But I like to make sure it is really tight. You can buy the tumblers pre-drilled now that come with different stoppers. Personal preference, I just like to make my own hole and I like to use my own stoppers. Now let's talk solutions. I change my solutions all the time depending on what I'm putting in it. So glitters, mica powders, inks, colorants, it all just depends on all the different factors and the flow that I want, the type of tumbler I'm using, whether it's glass, acrylic. All these factors mean I change it up differently. But today I'm going to share with you the solution I'm using for this tumbler. This is an acrylic 24-ounce tumbler. So in this batch that I'm making, I used 2 parts of distilled water, which you saw me pour into the large jug. Now I am pouring 1 part clear glue into the small pot, and then I'm going to add that into the distilled water. As you pour this in, it is going to go a milky colour, because obviously the consistency of the 2 liquids are completely different. You're just going to keep stirring it. Don't stir it too fast, otherwise you'll create loads of bubbles. You just want to keep mixing it and mixing it and mixing it until it goes clear. You will start to see the board through the liquid again. You can see it's going clear now. As you can see, the consistency has got a lot smoother now and there's not very many bubbles, which is a good sign. I'm now going to use 1 part of glycerin. I have spilled it all over the table, please excuse me. But again, this is 1 part glycerin. So you've got 1 part glycerin, 1 part clear glue and 2 parts distilled water. So again, this is a thick texture. When you add it into your solution, it is going to drop to the bottom and it's going to be quite thick. So you're going to stir it as slow as you can to combine the 2 textures together. It will go very cloudy, very milky, and you're just going to keep stirring it as slow as you can until it's all combined. And I promise it will go clear. Sometimes it feels like it's going to stay the milky texture, but it will go clear, and the slower you go with it, the less amount of bubbles you will have in your final solution. As you can see, there's not very many bubbles and it's getting really clear now. I always give it a little wiggle and make sure it's not sticking to the spatula, and I think this is good to go. I always leave my solution to settle a little bit before I add the next step. As I said before, that batch was for a few tumblers, so I'm pouring the amount I need into the larger tumbler to combine the colours I want for this tumbler. So firstly, I'm going to add some shimmer mica powder. This is from the Little Isle Co, and I believe this one's called Peachy Pink. I'm just going to add a few little scoops of that, and that will give it the iridescent glitter base. Again, we just stir slowly and just keep mixing it in because you don't want clumps of powder. And as you can see, look at that iridescent shine. That's what we wanted. I have cut the video slightly here just because you don't need to see me mixing it all the time. You know that you need to do it slowly and just keep mixing until it's thoroughly mixed in. Here I'm adding a few drops of pigment just to add some pink into the solution. So it will be more of the strawberry shake kind that I would like. Again, just mixing and mixing until it is completely mixed through. I am just adding a few sprays of my isopropyl alcohol here, just to disperse the bubbles. You can't add too much of this as it will alter the texture of the solution, so it's okay for a little bit but not too much. Here I'm doing a test run of the glitters that I would like. This one is called Like Really Pretty. This one I think it's called Sugar Rush. Yep, and then this one is Crushed Opal, and then I'm using Girly Girl. All of these again are from Hannah at the Little Isla Code. I will link her below with a little discount code. Look how cute that looks. Now let's add the glitter to the tumbler. I am going to add a glitter catcher to the top of my tumbler so it doesn't fall everywhere. These are brilliant and they keep it all concealed. First I'm going to add the little part of the mixture that I just made, and I'm going to use a massaging tool to get the glitter inside faster. I have found the easiest way for me is to tilt the tumbler slightly to one side and just use the edge of the massaging tool to vibrate it through down the hole. I'm just going to add a few of these cute little strawberries into my tumbler. These can be a bit tricky to get through the hole, so I use a variety of different methods to get them through. Sometimes they'll go in straight away with the massaging tool, sometimes I need to use tweezers, sometimes I can just brush them in. So it's just different methods until you can get them in. I have sped it up slightly here because you'd have been here all day. But yeah, the last few I was just placing with the tweezers through the hole. So now I'm just going to add in the rest of the glitter. I will be alternating between the 4 that I picked just until there is enough in there. Again, just using the massaging tool, tilting the cup until it goes through, until I have enough in there. I'm always asked how much is enough glitter. Again, this is entirely up to you. I find if I have too much glitter, it tends to get stuck within the walls and it's not a very smooth, nice flow when you're shaking your cup. So I believe less is more. You don't want a tiny amount so there's not enough glitter in there, but you also don't want too much that it gets all clumped and stuck together. Here I'm just brushing the last few bits down the hole before I take off the glitter catcher. Then I'm using my glitter hoover. Best invention ever. I love this tool. And now it's time to add our solution to our tumbler. I'm just going to give it a quick mix in case any of the mica powder has fallen to the bottom before I'm putting it into my solution bottles. These again, I do have them in my crafting recommendations and it will give you the direct link to go and find them. I think you get a pack of 3 for about £7. Again, I've spilt this everywhere because I'm so clumsy. So I'm just going to tilt my bottle and use the tip to just pour it in and pour it in. And I usually fill it, I would say, to about 1/3 before I do my first shake. This is personal preference. A lot of people like to put in a little bit of solution before they put in the glitter so that it doesn't get stuck around the rim. I found personally when you're leaving it to degas, that all comes away anyway. So again, personal preference. You've got to find the way that works for you. I'm going to pop in my stopper and I'm going to give it my first good shake. Once that stopper is in nice and tight, I am just going to roll it and roll it and roll it, shake it, shake it, shake it. You just want that small bit of solution you've put in there to saturate the first layer of glitter. And once it has got through that, I will then keep topping it up. As you can see, again, turning it, rolling it, turning it, rolling it. And you can see most of that glitter now has fallen away from around the top. Just keep shaking. I'm just going to remove my stopper now and fill it up all the way. Again, same method, and I'm just going to use the tip and just fill it with the solution until it is completely full. This video is a very long video today, and I'm so sorry, but I wanted to show you in real time how long it takes me. I have cut it where I can, but it gives you more of a realistic idea of how long it takes for when you're doing yours. You can't get that on TikTok or Instagram Reels. So I hope you've enjoyed it today anyway. And if you've got any questions, don't forget to drop them in the comments below, and I will try my best to answer as many of them as I can. We're just going to fill this completely to the top now. Again, using the pump bottles. And then when it gets to the top, we're just going to tilt it a little bit more so the air has more room to escape. And I think I'm going to use some of the isopropyl alcohol again, just to pop them few bubbles that were at the top so that I can fit more solution in. Because you're going to need as much room as you can in there while it's degassing. Again, with the degassing method, so many people have so many different ways of doing it, which is totally fine. I leave mine with the stopper out but a cover over the top, so I usually use the lid so the air can escape. You will be very surprised at the amount of air that you will be left with in a few days after the degassing process has taken place. So obviously you can see me shaking now, shake, and just keep shaking until it's all saturated, all mixed together. Again, I have sped this little bit up, but you just keep shaking, and then over the course of the next few days whilst it's degassing, I will just keep turning it and turning it to make sure it is completely saturated. I hope you've enjoyed the video today. Please subscribe for part 2. It will be up in the next few days. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.